In today's video, we're going to be talking about different considerations for the squat during pregnancy. For many women, unless there's any pelvic girdle pain, pubic symphysis pain, low back pain, many women can continue to squat full depth all the way up until the delivery date, with some of them even joking that they're trying to squat the baby out. Things that we need to consider are some of the changes that we're going to make potentially to our loading, our breath, our foot placement, and maybe the position of the barbell on our back. Let's kind of go through each consideration and talk about the different variations we're going to start to use as you progress through your pregnancy. The first one is breathing. We talk about this a lot with our barbell movements, where many athletes who are trained in the squat perform a Valsalva in order to increase the stiffness in their belly and trunk in order for them to have more force up against the bar. What this does though is it creates a lot of inner abdominal pressure, which creates pelvic pressure, which can lead to an extra stress and strain with the pelvic floor that is already under strain because of the growing baby. The way that we just try to mitigate some of that stress is by changing to an exhale on exertion. In the squat, what that looks like is you are inhaling on the way down and exhaling on the way up. As we get into heavier loads, so 80+% of your 1 rep max, it is going to be almost impossible to not perform a Valsalva. What that translates to in programming is that we usually take our rep ranges up a touch and our loading down so that we can maintain that good breathing pattern as we get into later stages of our pregnancy. For many women, they can get frustrated by that because they like lifting heavy weights, they like the feeling of it, but ways that we can make the exercise harder with lower loads is to manipulate some variables like tempo and pause work. So tempo work means that we can slow down different phases of the lift. So it can be 4 seconds on the way down, 4 seconds on the way up, which is miserable with heavy enough weights. We can start adding pauses in the bottom, pauses where your body doesn't feel that strong to work through some weaknesses. It also helps us with that change in balance that happens as the baby starts to grow and our belly gets bigger. Things to consider too around the placement of our feet. If you are a very narrow squatter and a low bar back squatter, your chest is going to come forward and your baby bump may actually hit your thighs. You might have to scoot your feet out just a little bit in a wider position to give that baby bump some room to get down into the bottom of your squat without having to tilt your pelvis backwards. Those are just a couple of things that we're going to go through with our model and talk about the different variations, including the placement of the bar.